Namaskar. We welcome you to our Women Empowerment series. We have here Viloshni joining us from South Africa. She's the founder of Ultimacy Online. I would like her to introduce herself and share a few words about herself with us today. Over to you, Viloshni.
Thank you so much, Naveena, and it is such an honor. I'm really so humbled to be here today and to just share my story with everyone. So I am Veloshni, as Naveena said. I am in South Africa, and I've started my online business during COVID, which was in last year, June. And my focus is on women and helping women navigate through love, sex, and relationships. I am a certified Master Sexpert, love and relationship coach, and I have been certified through Veloshni University, and I practice as an intimacy coach.
It is such an important subject. You give so much knowledge and guidance to everybody. This is a subject which is very important for all of us. So I wanted to ask you a question. Your bio indicates that you've had a corporate career for the last 25 years or more. What was the deciding factor for you to make the career switch to what you're doing right now?
So basically, I had a very, very exciting career in corporate. I thrived, to be honest. I was in a male-dominated environment in the petrochemical industry in South Africa. And it was actually so much of growth that I experienced in that industry. However, my passion and my purpose started taking over. And that actually came from my experience in life. So earlier in my life, I was in a very abusive relationship, marriage. And it took me a very long time before I found the confidence to actually deal with society, with becoming divorced and raising kids on my own. But eventually I got through it and I did it. And it was through my healing that I realized that there is no one out there that actually supports women, because many women are living in pain, living in toxic relationships, but they don't have anyone to extend a hand to, or to get an ear from someone that can guide them in the right way.
What influenced you to pursue careers and intimacy coach? I understand that there are a lot of problems that women are facing, and you wanted to lend a hand out to help them. But how and why specifically this subject?
So I have 3 daughters that I'm raising myself. And I think it was, in terms of how I was raised, being raised and not being told what to expect during puberty. Also when you get married, like nobody tells you what to expect. No one prepares you for anything, except, the continuous messages that we get is no sex before marriage. Everything is like, it's very negatively brought across or communicated. It's not done in a positive way. I was also raised at a time that, so when I was in high school and at the time of my, when I was going through puberty and that sort of thing, it was still the apartheid years in South Africa. So I had to go to a school that was just for Indians, and which was fine. But the level of education was not the normal standard as the white South Africans received. So we also didn't get any sex education at school. And I mean, in comparison to my daughters who, they were actually fortunate that, they were growing up they were born into a new South Africa, and they went to a private school. And in that, through their curriculum, they had sex education, which also supported the way I raised them, the way I chose to raise them. Now, not everyone is fortunate enough to have this. And there's a lot of us, I think, that we can make an impact in how we raise our children, because we change that narrative. And we also change in terms of their behaviors, how they respond to others. It has so many deep impacts that people sometimes on the surface, they don't realize it and they don't see it. One that I can, that is body shaming, bullying and things like that. All of these actually stem from lack of self-esteem, and you then put it on to the next person.
So as a woman, I completely agree. Women face this a lot. Yes, men do too, but more to the extent that women face it more than men, I guess. If you see the entire species of how God has, divine has given, all the other species, the male is supposed to attract the woman. Even the peacock, which is the most beautiful, goes around and dances and tries to entice the women. But in the human species, divine has actually made it in the other way around. Women are beautiful and we have to be beautiful all the time. And even if she has confidence in herself, there are many times that she questions her own self-esteem on the way she looks, especially if anyone tries to bully her just for the sake of it and tries to put her down, even if she might be the most beautiful or gorgeous woman around. Doesn't have to do anything with what actually she looks like. So, what
Yeah.
advice would you say for those kind of women when she or they face something like this? It's kind of gripping to the heart, right? So, what can
It
she
is.
say or do to herself to calm her down and bring back her self-esteem? What would be one advice that you would like to give?
I think the best advice that I can give, any woman that goes through that is, to start off, you need to appreciate yourself and love yourself. Love who you see in the mirror, love that person. We all will find flaws, regardless of how beautiful you are. You'll find a flaw. As a woman, I think it just comes naturally that you almost like, you, even if you don't see something, you will look for it to identify something that you're not happy with. So it is about just being content with yourself, being happy with yourself. And, some of the exercises, like in building self-confidence, if you don't mind me just sharing it, is, a woman just standing naked in front of the mirror and being able to look at herself from head to toe and appreciate each part of her body. One of the biggest hang-ups that women have is the stomach, area. Like the stomach is not flat enough, and they could have had kids, or maybe not even kids, but our bodies are all not perfect. There's no perfection. There is no perfection. We create perfection in our mind falsely. So what women often don't realize is that give thanks to the stomach for the digestion, for all the other functions, for housing the organs that are here in this area of the body. We're so quick to find fault and to judge our bodies, but we don't give thanks and gratitude for all of that that works so well together, that we're not, you know, reliant on medication to allow, you know, certain functionalities to happen. So our physiological being needs to be appreciated for ourselves. And what's here on the outside, that's just temporary, because that is changing. As we get older, that is changing. But what is on the inside, how you approach someone and how you leave that person feeling, that's lasting. And that's what we should be more focused on as women, and appreciate what we have. Because one day when it's gone, then it's too late to actually say, if only.
Right.
Because we actually are impacting the quality of our life by doing that. Yeah.
It's so true. That is such a powerful exercise which you just shared with us here today. We have to start learning to appreciate ourselves and to stand in front of the mirror and appreciate each part of our body as a woman, saying and being thankful for how beautiful we actually look every day will definitely increase our self-confidence. I don't think I've ever heard this advice from anybody. This is really profound and this is really powerful. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. So,
It's only a pleasure.
I wanted to ask you a question. Would you like to share some common myths that you've had about heard about your profession?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, because a lot of people think I love sex. I have sex all the time. They also think that yeah, what I do is that I only talk to people or help people that love sex as well. In fact, I've had some people actually tell me that. So I have a friend who loves sex. I will refer them to you. So by no means am I a therapist. I'm basically, I mean, I'm a coach just helping you navigate so that you can have good quality of life. You know, I've also had, this is by far the weirdest for me, was having men approach me and ask, can they send me a pic of their genitals so I can tell them whether or not they're the right size? Like, you know, it just goes to show that there's that lack of self-confidence as well within, you know, within men as well. And sometimes they just, you know, men always appear more confident than women, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's at home, because it's almost like they know what their standing is. And, you know, women can get to that point, and we don't want women to change and to become, you know, lose their femininity. Let's put it that way. We want them to be, you know, strong, upstanding women that can also know their place, you know, stand up for themselves. So I know I've digressed a bit from the question, but those are some of the, you know, common myths about what I do.
That's very interesting. You're true when you said that the lack of self-confidence is there within women and men. It's not, and it's sometimes more difficult for men to come out because, in general, women are considered to be soft in nature, and men are supposed to be stronger. So, if they want help, also, how do they come out and say, "Hey, I actually need help. I need guidance"? Will how will they have take the strength to come out and say that? That's a very big question that they need to answer. But,
yeah, but I think, you know, from my experience, just my just over a year being in this, you know, in as a coach, men are almost are more forthcoming for help than women are. Women will hold back.
Right.
And I really don't know what it is that hold women back. They so busy prioritizing everything else because, you know, with women as well, it's everyone else comes first except themselves.
Mm, that's
They always seem to somebody else, like family, you know, it could be extended family, the spouse, the partner, the children, looking after the house, the looking after the kitchen, those type of things that, you know, it's also add on to what they normally do. So yeah.
so they put others first and take themselves last. So they don't have enough time to even think about themselves or come out and ask for help for themselves
Yeah.
and their relationships. That actually makes a lot of sense. So
Yeah.
um, I wanted to ask you, while finding a purpose in what you do is great, what is your vision for the work you do?
So my my vision is quite a big one, and it is actually to change people's lives in terms of how they live. Firstly, that's the primary goal, is in terms of how they relate to each other in a relationship. And from there, you actually, you know, you impact your children, because children don't listen much to what we say, but children mimic adults. And, you know, if they see two loving parents that are affectionate, that are warm, they're going to take that into their families. And, you know, that's going to be passed on. It also provides almost the security within them, self-confidence within the children. And I feel in that way, we can start seeing a visible change in, you know, the statistics for domestic violence, for gender-based violence, for how others are treated. Also, the other area that's huge is sexual health issues, and that's, you know, these two are not just they global pandemics on their own. If you look at it, people are being affected regardless of, you know, race, creed, you know, status. They are being affected by these things, and where the sexual health issues come in, when you have sex positive education, you're able to make the right decisions for yourself. So it's not being um, negligent in that way. You know, it's not just going and looking for comfort and just having sex with the person, because, you know, then they realize the deeper meaning of connecting with someone else. You're connecting, having sex with someone is connecting, it's sharing, exchanging energy.
Yes.
So these are, you know, this is basically my vision in terms of the ultimate goal is changing the stats to gender-based violence and to sexual health issues.
You've got a great vision, and I hope and pray that the divine gives you all the power necessary to fulfill your vision that you have for others.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. So, I wanted to ask you, what is your advice to anyone wanting to enrich their relationship or marriage?
Okay, so mine would be uh, the biggest ingredient missing out of a lot of relationships is the communication. And I know the word can be very loosely thrown around, but communication, so deep, meaningful communication and honest communication, communication from the heart, and saying what you mean, and, you know, mean what you say. So, you know, just a simple example is, you know, if you have a conflicting situation, or you're upset with your partner for whatever reason, try not to use the word you, and instead replace it with the word I.
Mhm.
So if you're the one that's making the tea every morning and you want them to make the tea and you may perhaps had a conversation about it, and then don't just say, you never make me tea, or you never do this, or instead say, I would feel, how it would make you feel. I would feel loved. I would feel appreciation. I would feel really great if you made me a cup of tea. Would rather use the words, and just in rephrasing, there is it's so much more softer to the ears and kinder.
That's so true. And it opens up the possibility of the other person actually wanting to do something out of love for you instead of, wanting to pick a fight.
Exactly. And they want to do more for you because, when you show appreciation, you show love, and you talk in a very different way. When you change the way you talk, they don't see it as it's an order, or she's nagging. They see it a different way. They want to respond in a different way.
So true. That's very true. Thank you.
My words of wisdom come from Mahatma Gandhi.
Yeah.
And the first one is, be the change you want to see in the world. And that is one of the driving factors for me doing what I do. And you can't change how people treat you or what they say about you. All you can do is react, change how you react.
Very true.
And the third one is, which I've learned the hard way in becoming a business owner, is to be your own cheerleader. So you don't have expectations on others. And by not having expectations, there's no disappointments.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you
Yes.
so much, Viloshni. Thank you for joining us today, for sharing your words of wisdom and knowledge and guidance with all of us. I'm so honored to have had you on this talk show today. Thank you. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you so much. Thank you.